Hello and welcome to another scrapbooking process video. This one is a project life process video. I'm Tracy, also known as MercyTiara, and I make scrapbooking process videos and more here on my channel. Today I'm narrating some older videos. So this one was scrapped back in September of 2025, and it covers late June of 2025, which I didn't get a chance to scrap back in the summer. I'm usually a pretty up-to-date project life scrapper, so I'm usually scrapping the last 2 weeks, but I did skip over the summer because we were busy with some travel and whatnot. So I have pulled out just some items from my stash here. This is from a variety of different June kits over the years. I see some Hip Kit Club stuff in there, some Ellie Edwards, probably some Studio Calico, probably from some Ellie Studio. There's just a whole variety of different things. I think all those items over there in a stack that I'm going through right now on the right, that's all what would have been current at the time Ellie Edwards kit. So that would have been probably the June of 2025 kit. But I have some other items from my stash as well, which I sometimes store. I store it in a bunch of different ways, and there will be a video on my channel about that. But some of it I store by the month theming. So I'm starting here with my photos already printed and cut up. If you'd like to see my photo selection and trimming and how I kind of work through what I'm going to print at what sizes and shapes, you can check out my Patreon because I often talk about that as I live stream all of these videos. So what you're seeing now is the fast forwarded and edited version with narration. But if you like to watch them real time, you can check out my Patreon, which is linked at the end of the video and in the information section below. So as you can see, I put all of the photos out on my little templates. These are for Design A Becky Higgins page protectors. And as you can see, wow, that is a lot of photos. So I am going to be creating an insert. And my thought at this moment is that my insert will probably cover the prom itself. So this is why I have so many photos. And so I have another template here that I've just cut in half to allow me to have a template for an insert as well. So I'm taking everything that is specific to the prom itself and putting it on one side of my insert page protector. So that's prep for the prom, photos at the gardens before the prom, and then dropping her off at the prom itself. And then on the flip side of that, I will put photos of the graduation, which took place a couple of days later, maybe a week later or so. And I'm just going to put that aside. And I really can't remember which one I ended up doing first, if I did the insert first or the main layout first. But this is how it's all going to look with photos. So yes, it looks like I'm going to do the insert first. So just a little shot there of my space. If you watch my live streams, you'll see lots of behind the scenes footage of how I store things and where things are and my setup and all of that. So my first step here with this insert template is to find some cards that are going to work on these photos and for the stories that I have to tell. So this one that says lovely day, I thought worked really well for the photo of Sophie with her grandparents. And some of these are going to be flips as well. So I've got lots of stories to tell and lots of photos to document. So I'm pulling out some of these. These are a strange shaped, I've got them cut into strips. They're cards from old Kelly Perky kits, and I have them cut into 3x8 inch strips. They were either these 6x8 inch things that are cut in half, or they were from the Traveler Notebook inserts, and I cut them down. So what I'm taking here is actually one of those 6x8 cards from Kelly Perky. These are very old kits, cards from very old kits, and I score it down the center to give me basically a tent flip 6x4 inch card. So this will go in the bottom of the front page of the insert. So I'm kind of putting the photos there to hold the space. I also pulled out 2 magnets because I'm not going to want this to flip around too much in my book as I turn the pages. So I'm going to make sure that the flip stays closed by using magnets. So this design is looking pretty good, but I would like to put something behind the Ready, Set, Go. especially where I'm scrapbooking the photo of her getting ready up above. I thought that was really relevant, but I decided to go with that navy blue. I'm going into my stash here. That's why you're seeing me pull out some cards. These are my purple 4x6-inch cards. I had already pulled out my purple 3x4-inch cards to get that navy blue and purple polka dotted card that goes under the Ready, Set, Go. I pulled out another one that's really similar. I don't know what brands these cards are from because they're so old, but I thought that would look nice under the photo of her Twilight eyeshadow palette, which she wore for her makeup that day. So we'll start by doing this little flip. It has lots of photos to include. On the outside, which has a grid pattern on it, so it looks pretty cool just the way that it is. Like, I don't feel like I need to add any kind of pattern paper or anything. On the outside, I'm putting one 3x4-inch photo it is cut down to be a little bit smaller than 4x6 so that I've got a bit of a border around the edge of it. And I'll just glue that over on the left-hand side with an equal kind of matting all the way around it. And then this other one is printed at 2x3. So it's a little bit smaller. It has that white edging around it already. And I think that it's going to look really nice right here. And then what I'll do is I'll put a bit of a title or some letters or something up in the sky to fill in that space above it. Now I'm doing the same thing here. This photo is another 3x4, and I'm just gluing it to the inside of this. The inside of this is already pretty and lined with that beautiful mint green color. So we'll put the larger photo down there, and then this is the smaller 2x3 that I'll put up in the corner, and that provides a little bit of balance. Now, it wasn't looking quite right, so I decided to mat it on a piece of paper. That was a 4x6-inch, really inexpensive cardstock that I get from Amazon. I thought about doing it with that too, but it's already matted with that grid paper that's already white, so it looks fine. I didn't think that adding a mat would make that big of a difference there. Now, these are some of the embellishments from that June Ali Edwards Stories by the Month kit. And so I'm just looking for some little embellishments that might work well to just dress up this little flippity flap a little bit. These banners are really cute, and the pink one says, "Let's do this." And I thought it looked really good with that picture of Sophie. We just kind of caught her attention as she was waiting to go into the place where her prom was. It was actually at a vintage car museum. Kind of a funny place to have a prom, but I think it sounds like it was really great. Then we have this June 2025 in a beautiful blue. And since all three of the girls we were photographing were in blue dresses, I thought that worked really well. I thought I'd just kind of go with the blue theming that's already in the photos. So I used some glue to adhere that. And I will add a little something else to it, but just not quite yet, I guess. Now, for this little banner, I could do one of two things. My timer is just there to remind myself to stop and chat with the live stream. So every hour I stop and we go on Discord and I get to look at what other people are scrapbooking. And it's really fun for me, but sometimes I get into the flow and forget to do it. So that's why I set my clock every hour. Next, I'm going to take that little magnet. It's actually two. You can't tell that, but now you can see that there's two of them there. And I am going to just glue one of these magnets in between the layers here, just using my Tombow Mono Multi-Adhesive. I have worked out a better way to do this since then, but this is how I've been doing it. I started doing it, I guess. Then what I'm doing is I am allowing the second magnet to stick itself to the existing magnet, put some glue on it, and then close the card until the glue starts to tack up a little bit. It only takes a few minutes. Tombow Mono Multi is a pretty fast drying glue. Now I use Art Glitter Designer Dries Clear glue. And so then when I open it up again, that magnet is stuck to the top and it's aligned perfectly to snap closed with the other magnet that's between the paper and the cardstock card. So now I just need to make sure that I do something to cover up that magnet. Although there have been times when I've left the magnet showing, and I actually don't mind the look of it, especially if you're going with a real graphic look. It just looks like a dot and doesn't look too bad. But I'm going to cover it here. And let's keep on going with the blue theme. There's lots of blue in this kit as well, which is very convenient. And so I'll cut down a couple of these. They look like they were supposed to be tabs, but I don't want to use the white part of it. I just want to use it as a decorative element. So I needed a thicker pen than what I normally use. So I just went into my journaling supplies there and grabbed, I think this is a 0.7, what are those called? Pigma Micron pens. I love those ones. And so I outlined one of those, and I guess, I'm not sure if I wasn't sure which one I was going to use or if I thought I had two uses for it, but I outlined them both, and I'm going to end up using this one. I just liked how it looked. It provided a bit more balance because those photos are so dark, and I just wanted something to give a little bit more balance on the page. So I plan for some journaling to go in both of those larger sized gaps that are on this card. But first I am looking for a little something to put on this little banner with the mixed media design on it. I grabbed one that says Dreams from my Tim Holtz Chit Chat books. And next I'm ready for my journaling. So I'll just read it to you and then I'll edit out everything else. I am using my Indanthrene Blue Stettler pen, which I love, with the superfine tip. I'm going to start by adding the roller date stamp that says June 14th, 2025. My journaling says, the day finally arrived. Prom. Photos at the public gardens with all our friends from over the years. Taking time to pose with old connections and lots of time with current besties. Sophie and Sophia looked amazing, as did Mads. So Sophie and Sophia. Sophie is my kid, and Sophia was our international student for that time frame. And Mads is our longtime bestie who lives up the lane from us. Then my second journaling says prom itself was held at Steel Wheels, a car museum, and a great time was had by all. Both, and then in brackets I put all three girls, came home relatively early, and Mads and Soph had a post-prom movie night. So yeah, it looks like I misspelled there or kind of misspoke, and rather than crossing things out and making kind of a mess out of it, I just corrected myself by saying all three in brackets. So now that the journaling is done, I'm going to grab some embellishments. I'm actually going to grab some puffy stars and hearts and this is just a little assortment of leftover puffy stickers I have. And I was thinking that stars are great for prom night. It's a very magical night. I'm putting a little blue star on the front here on the June circle embellishment. And then I'll put a couple of stars and hearts every here and there. So I've got 2 hearts down there. And then I'll put 2 stars right here. And I felt like I wanted just another little sprinkling of things. So I'm actually going to use my markers and add just a little bit more to the inside. But it looks like first I'm going to put that title on above the photo. Now, I could have put prom all the way inside. The letters would have fit. I don't know why I had it in my mind to overlap it like this. I often do my titles like this, half overlapping with the photo and half on the background paper. I think given the size of the photo and the fact that, the tree branches above the girls aren't all that important, I think it might have actually looked a little bit better if I had made the word prom be entirely on the photo. But this is the way I did it, so this is the way it's done. I provided some contrast with the background photo by outlining with my white gel pen. This is a Jelly Roll 10 pen that you can get. You can buy these separate from the colored packs, so you don't have to buy a full pack of Jelly Roll pens, gel pens, to get that white one. And then there were a little bit of parts on the letters that weren't entirely that were a little bit frayed or ripped looking. So I just made it more solid looking with my pen there, and added a little staple for good measure on the banner. And now here's me just putting some little star designs and dots and whatnot in my Indanthrine blue pen, which, I don't love my own doodling. I think we all are probably our worst enemies, but I also, or our worst critics, I should say. Maybe we're also our worst enemies, but that's not what I was trying to say there. I think we're all our worst critics, and sometimes you just got to practice in order to get better at that kind of a thing. I don't add splotchy pen marks very often, so maybe I need to try to do that more so I can get better at it and start to like the outcome a little bit more. So now that the bottom flip card is done, let's work on the top flip card. This one has the picture of the makeup palette on the outside, and then the photo of Sophie doing her makeup in her window. Right in front of her window, she has a desk where she does her makeup. And so I'm just going to, oh, I see what I'm doing. How smart is that? Okay, so I used a white card for the actual flip, just a white piece of cardstock that was 6x8, scored down the middle so that it's a 4x6. Then I am adhering, I'm just trying to decide which side to use here. I'm adhering a 4x6 card. I'm pretty sure that's from Hip Kit Club. And I'm going to, oops, I forgot to do the magnet. So let's just do that. I'm using a teeny tiny magnet for this one. I have a variety of different sizes, and I really want to use them all up, so I'm using the tiny one this time. So we'll stick the second magnet to the bottom of it, just using a bit of wet glue like you saw. And yeah, I'm not sure that this is going to be strong enough. Already it doesn't seem like it's strong enough. So I'm going to use the bigger one. I'm always on the lookout for an opportunity to get those little ones used up, but it won't be this. It won't be today that I use those little ones up. So there, these are my regular size ones. And if you're wondering about the size, they are, I believe they're 5 millimeters by 2 millimeters. So they're, you can get them on Amazon or whatever place you shop for your stuff, I guess. I'm going to put this 4x6 grid card. This is an MTK grid card from when we had a kit club. And that is going to provide me with some journaling space to go beside my 3x4 inch photo. I'm just holding it down while it dries because that wet glue does need at least a few minutes there to dry. We will add the photo like this, adding just a little bit. I have it trimmed such that there's a little bit of white all the way around it. I do like how that looks, and it snaps shut in a nice, satisfying kind of a way. Now, it occurs to me that I'm going to need some tabs on these. I don't need, but I always like to have tabs on my flips just to, oops, I hid that little photo in there for myself to find later. Just talking to my Patreons about it. So we have a card here that I think coordinates nicely with the other colors. I think it's from the same, probably from the same Hip Kit Club kit. And I'm just deciding where I'm going to put it. I think it really looks great with that Twilight makeup palette. Trying to decide if I want it to be inside or outside of those layers. I decided to put it inside the layers. So I just peeled them back a little bit. I like how that looks. And next, I am going back into those Tim Holtz Chit Chat books and finding a couple of words that I can put on that, at least one word that I can put on the outside of that tab. I found the word love, and we'll put that there. And I'll just leave the back side of the tab empty. It looks cute the way that it is, so I'll just leave it. I'm trying to find something really cute to go on that diagonally striped paper. And I found these butterflies right away. I took out, these are my little trays where I keep my chipboard and a couple of my acetate pieces. And I loved these butterflies as soon as they jumped out at me. So I didn't really even have to look through all of these other pieces, but I'm looking through them anyways, just to see what I have. And nothing is really jumping out at me here. I would like to put something else on here. Here I found this gold heart, which I think looks amazing with that butterfly. So we'll do that. Just having one last look at those before I put them back in my drawer. And now we have what will be so it's basically just a filler card on the top there. Just wanted it to be pretty. Those acetate butterflies, I believe they might be from Vicky Bouton. They do have a piece of plastic over them, so you just want to kind of peel that off, especially if you want them to look nice and shiny. I sometimes leave them on purpose because I like the less shiny look of them, but this time I wanted it shiny. So next, I just have to do the journaling, and I'm also looking for something to put above my journaling because I'm sure I don't have that much to say that will fill all of those lines. So I'm thinking maybe some type of a title. I know I have some word stickers, and I've been keeping my 6x12 and 12x12 sticker sheets in this folder here. It's just a folder, I believe it was from Temu, that has just, it could have been from Amazon though. It just has these big thick sheets of pockets in them. They're like page protectors. And they're perfect for 12x12 sticker sheets. I had no place to put them, so I was really looking for a solution. I was hoping that would work, and it did. If you'd like me to share a video on that kind of sticker storage, I use books like that to store stickers all the time. So if you'd like to see some of those storage strategies, just let me know. Leave me a comment. So I'm not even attaching those two, like the vellum that says Ready, Set, Go and the pattern paper behind it. I'm just tucking them both into the envelope. So now that I have the word lovely there, I'm going to do my journaling in the same indanthrine blue pen. It says, it's hard to believe after all these years, our youngest is done with high school. We are so proud of all she has accomplished, both academically and personally. She has overcome a lot and still carries herself with so much grace. And of course, Grace is her middle name. I am going to underline these just to make them feel like they have a home on the page, like it anchors them to the page and makes them feel like they belong. I like most of my journaling to be underlined unless if it has lines on the paper. And this one will go in right there. So let's flip this one around and design the back side of it. So we have this other half of a page protector that I'm using as my template. And for this one, I'm going to cut the photo down a little bit. And you see how when I do that, I lose the white border on the edge of it. I really love having that white border. So all that I do when I trim a photo down like this is I keep a little sliver of the top border, and then I can just glue it back in place. And unless if you're looking really, really carefully, you can't even see it. It's especially good to do when this is going inside of a pocket. So there'll be a piece of plastic over it anyways. I might not have done this strategy if it was going to be outside of the pocket, but it is, so I can do it this way. I'm using my little line drawing template. That's my little journaling template. And I'm using that to draw myself some lines on this card because I am notoriously bad at journaling in straight lines. My journaling always tends to go either uphill or downhill. The journaling here says, although Papa was having health problems this spring, he and Nana were able to make the journey to attend graduation. And the card says, oh, so thankful, right below the words lovely day. And I think that just is a perfect sentiment for this photo. Couldn't have asked for a better one. Again, I'll go back and I will underline that journaling. This time it was done with just my regular Sharpie pen. Now in the top 4x6 pocket, I'm going to put this one. It says June Delights. This is from some old kit. I'm pretty sure it's not from the current Ali Edwards June Stories by the Month kit. Could be from another one though. This is just a photo of Sophie in the audience. And I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm looking up something. I don't know if I'm trying to, oh, yes. I know what it is. I decided that I wanted more of an atmosphere shot. So I'm actually printing up a photo that includes the whole big group of them throwing their hats up in the air. This is going to fit better with the design that I have. I don't know what I'm saying about this photo here, but this is the hazard of narrating 6 months later. Yeah, see how that photo just balances better with the amount of white that I have on that page? So, or on that card, I suppose. So that's going to look better right there. And I'm actually going to put a little bit of ephemera on that card as well. I haven't done it yet. These two photos just go in just as they are. I don't need to do anything to them. They speak for themselves. And then the insert is done. I am going to go back and put a piece of ephemera on one of those cards, but I'm not sure if that happens on screen or if I do it after the fact, after the cameras are turned off. I do want to have a sense of how this insert is going to look on the main layout, like how it's going to look when it's open and how it's going to look when it's closed, like flipped over the other way, just so that there can be a sense of continuity between these pages, the basically 4 pages. So I'm starting by figuring out where some of these chipboard pieces will go, and in doing so, I'm moving some of my photos around on the page. Got some great candid shots. Also took a selfie of myself at a medical appointment where I was being assessed for asthma, and have some kind of interesting and maybe unique, I'll say, things to document this particular spread. So I pulled it down so that you can see it a little bit better, but basically I am laying out some embellishments from the June Ali Edwards Stories by the Month kit, and also some things from my own stash from previous June kits from different companies. I really love these cards from Kelly Perky, and I didn't use them often enough back when they were current from her kits. And so I definitely want to get this one onto the page. I love how it repeats that mint green that we see behind the Love You Dad tag as well. This one that says, "Here's the story," is going to be a good opportunity for me to put some journaling that will tell the story of Sophie looking at her yearbook with her mouth wide in shock, I guess. And I love how that looks on that card. So that is a photo Sophie took of her own shadow at the high school, on the parking lot of the high school with her cap and gown. So I thought that that was really fun. I also have a photo, that pink one up there that I just had my hand on. That is a photo from the public gardens the day of the prom. And lots of graduation and celebration photos in this spread. So it's a really fun one to do. I'm going to reprint this photo so that it fits a little bit better underneath of the summer state of mind sentiment that's on that blue and white card from Ali Edwards. And in order to do, I guess I shared my screen, and here I found the photo, and I'm just going to change the size of it to, it looks like 2.5 by 3 maybe. I can't quite tell. But it's going to print up on my Epson PM400. And I'm also going to put that June Highs photo right there. So as you can see, this photo is almost the same size as the one I had there, but it just fits perfectly now instead of just being a smidgen too big. And so I will glue that in place. This is one of the benefits of having your own printer at home, is that sometimes you change your mind about things. So this one says June highs, and I'm just going to put it right there. Graduation is certainly one of the highs of the month. And I'm grabbing a metallic gold pen here. And I just continued the F. The F kind of disappeared behind the photo and the mat. So I just drew on the F and like the bottom part of the F, so it wasn't cut off. Now I'm outlining in black around the outside edges of where that pattern stops. And now I'm practicing that doodling that I had said. You got to practice to get better. I don't love it, but I don't hate it either. It's okay. Just a little cluster of dots and little stars and stuff. I might have been using a broader tipped pen than what I probably should have. Then we have this big photo of our whole family at the restaurant. We went off. We ate dinner after we ate lunch, I guess, after the graduation. We went to a local golf club, and I am adding more doodles. I put them in gold, but you couldn't really see them very well. So I'm going to add a little spattering of dots and hearts in white. And I actually really do like that. I think it looks really cool. It adds a lot to the card, actually. And I think you're going to see a close-up of it in a second. So there's how that looks. I do quite like that. It just adds a little something to that chipboard piece. And now for this one, here's the story, and I'm going to do some journaling that explains this photo. And in order to do that, I'd like to have arrows that go either down, they'll live here and point down to the photo, or they'll live on the photo and point up to the journaling. Or, as it turns out, I'm going to do both. So at first it looks like they're just going to be two arrows pointing down, but you'll see the problem that I run into and why I changed my mind about that. So I'm going to take them off just to do my journaling lines. And I knew I had a fair bit to say, so I'm going to underline all of these. Sometimes I'll do every other, but this time I'm doing all of them to have my journaling really close together so I can fit a lot on the same card. I'm going to use my Sharpie pen, and it says, "We call the yellow fit Lisa after our favorite yellow feminist, Lisa Simpson. Sophie has been driving Lisa to school and work all year, and Lisa has become well known in Tantallon, well known in parking lots of Tantallon. She even won best car in the Bayview yearbook." So that explains the photo of Sophie looking in the yearbook and seeing that her car won a prize, I guess, a distinction in the Bayview yearbook. So once I did the journaling, I realized that the second one doesn't fit there anymore, but that's okay. I'll use it and just kind of have the two point to each other. So now there's an arrow on the photo pointing to the journaling and an arrow on the journaling pointing to the photo. So if that's not clear, I don't know what else I could do to make it more clear. Next, I found some ephemera. I must have taken a break here. And here's where I decide to put I thought about putting a little sticker right there, but I actually think I'm going to put it someplace else. I didn't want to cover Mads's scarf. She had an Indigenous recognition, a scarf that all the Indigenous students wore to distinguish them. And I didn't want to cover it up. So instead, I think I will put this class. These are just little stickers that were on a little swag bag that she got from prom. And I thought I would just rescue one of them. This must have been stuck to a bag of candies or something. And I'm cutting off all the plastic. And then I'll put it on this one of all the grads throwing their hats in the air. And I'll use it to cover up the head of the person who is in front of me. So there, I think that looks a lot better than the head being there. So moving right along, I'm now going to scrapbook this, which is a photo of Scott and Liv at a restaurant on the waterfront. We went there on our anniversary, and Liv joined us. She lives downtown, so it was easy enough for her to meet up with us. It was a beautiful day on the 21st of June. The sun was shining. It was lovely. I decided to use this marbled card from my stash. I'm pretty sure it was from Studio Calico from quite some time ago. And I am just going to glue this little 2x3-inch photo right there, and then add the around here chipboard piece right there. And then in that big chunk of empty space above the word around, I'm just grabbing my roller date stamp, and I'm going to put June 21st, 2025. Easy date to remember because it is my anniversary. There we go. And that card is done. Trimmed down the part that was sticking out so it could go into the pocket properly. Next, I am just going to include this photo as it is, and I'm going to write along the horizon line where the trees meet the sky, Sophia and Flavia, friends forever, and then I added 2 little hearts just to take up some of the space there so that the journaling kind of ends with where their faces are in the photo. Journaling on the horizon line is one of my favorite things to do, so that was a no-brainer for me. Going back into my stash here to grab another card, looking for something I wanted something blue here to contrast with the piece of chipboard that I'd picked out, which has orange on it or red or whatever. It says taking care of me. So I had some medical appointments. I had quite a few medical appointments that month, and one of them resulted in an asthma diagnosis. Just mild though, so it's not so bad. Doesn't always feel mild, but yeah, it's mild, which is good to know. I have this blue sticker here from my stash, and it says currently, so I put learning I have mild asthma as my caption there. Just for a lack of anything better to say. I'm going to mat this on a piece of that same white cardstock I've been using for matting purposes, just that inexpensive Amazon cards. I'm going to place it off to the side, and then I'm actually going to cut off some of the matting that I put there, but that just allows it to look like it's running off the edge of the page, and that allows me space to have my taking care of me chipboard piece without needing to trim that off. I could have trimmed it off, but I like how this looks, kind of just going off the edge like that. Next, I have a photo of the 4 of us. So Liv couldn't make it that day. The 4 of us at the airport saying goodbye to our wonderful international student from Italy, Sophia. And so this is definitely June lows. We always have June lows here because we host international students. June is always a month of saying goodbye to our student who has often spent a whole year with us, but in this case, she was just with us since for the 1 semester. So the June lows is on there, and I cut off the top as you see, and then I decided to also put a little label here. This is a speech bubble. I'm going to write on it. It says, saying goodbye is the hardest part. Sophia brought so much joy to our family. And then I am going to pop it up with some dimensional adhesive because I'm layering it over top of a piece of chipboard. So I'm just taking some scraps from the edges of my dimensional adhesive. I use the Stampin' Up! Dimensional adhesive, and I never throw away that edging because you can always use it. So we'll put that right there. We all have sad faces. Next, we'll do this one, which is a bit of a no-brainer. I'm just going to put the photo right on top of that card so that it looks like it's the center of that starburst or sunburst. This is going to be another really easy one. We've got a Love You Dad, and it's covering up the Love You Dad card. And then we'll add a little bow on the top for a little bow tie for Dad. Not that Scott, I don't think Scott's ever worn a bow tie in his life, but there you go. He might have for our wedding, but no, I think he wore a tie. I'm going to outline around the outside edges of this card. I just felt like it was looking a little floaty where it was such a light blue. And then we'll do this June. It's like a data card, so it's just a place for you to answer some questions. In this, so there was some information at the top that I just covered up with white out, like with a an eraser. What is it called? Tape eraser. I'm circling the month, physical health 07, allergy alert 05, feeling hot, true or false. I picked true. Prepping for Germany is what I said, especially noteworthy. I gave the month 5 stars. I'm writing here, as we close a chapter of our life, in brackets school, and say goodbye to Sophia, we look forward to new things. And that would be our prepping for Germany. And I checked off the box that said leaving behind and also the box that said looking forward. And here I am just coloring in the little stars to make it a 5-star card. And I'm also going to outline the letters of the word June because it was looking a little bland, like a little washed out. So it'll just give it a little bit more punch. Gives it a rough, sketchy kind of a look. I think that pairs really well with the floral. So here is everything in the book. I get requests every once in a while from people who ask me, what do I do with these spreads? Do I put them in a book or whatever? So I thought I'd every once in a while include this. And also there was a bit of a process that happened here because I realized I didn't put a tab on this flip. So I just grabbed the same card I had used for the other flip, punched another tab out of it, and I'm going to find a word. The word is magical, that I found in the same little Tim Holtz book I've been using. Staple it in place, and there we go. This one is done. As we jump into the final still photos, I want to give a quick shout out to my amazing Patreon supporters. These folks who you see on the screen now truly do help make this channel happen, and I'm so grateful for each and every one of them. Tiaras get early ad-free access to my process videos, plus real-time unedited versions, often in the form of live streams that these days take place almost every week, sometimes multiple a week. They also get exclusive behind-the-scenes content from my craft room and my process, along with sneak peeks into what I'm doing and how I'm storing things. Big thanks to you also for watching all the way to the end. Again, I'm MercyTiara, and I love sharing my full creative process with you, including all the little decisions and lessons I learn along the way. Make sure you check out the links at the end of this video to dive into my collection of process videos. I hope you enjoyed this spread, and as always, stay tuned for more scrappy inspiration. Until next time, take care and have a really great scrappy week.